Good morning, ma'am.
This call is
Okay, today's topic of discussion is security reference model. As we know, security is one of the topmost concerns of any computing model. It's not only in cloud computing. In any computing model, security is one of the top most concerns. Here in cloud computing, consumers and enterprises both are concerned about the security of the cloud. What happens is customer or the consumer is concerned about the security of the data information that the consumer stores, uh, and the provider provider is concerned with the infrastructure and computing resources and the data and the information as well. All right. So the security concern in cloud. What is the uh, security concern in cloud? They were data centers traditionally as well, that allows perimeterized meaning within organization's own network boundary or perimeter access to computing resources. When an organization has all of its resources within the uh, organization's premises, or and there is a network boundary, firewall or something else. Here you have all the resources related to the organization. This is within the organization. And when it is within the organization, essentially there is less security threat as it is accessed probably only by the people in within the organization, and from outside others cannot directly access because there is a firewall, and this firewall protects everything that comes in and goes out of the network. Okay, therefore perimeterized data centers are less prone to security problem. But in cloud, there is deperimeterization. Deperimeterization is the opening up of the interaction with outer network. And this concept has been accelerated by cloud. Cloud is like this. Organization is here. Organization stores its uh, data or any resource, as a matter of fact, outside its boundary within the cloud, thus leading to the access of this open for many. When it is a public cloud, obviously there is a more problem because anyone can have access to this public cloud. All right. So this is the one of the aspects of The security in cloud. Cloud computing moves beyond the concept of working inside protected network boundary. Cloud computing is about having your company's significant data, resources outside of the network boundary, outside of enterprise boundary. So this is within cloud. And if it is a public cloud, anyone who pay and register can use the resources of the cloud. This is what is the security concern in cloud. There is a need of having a cloud security model. As the cloud computing turn out to be popular and being used by several organizations and enterprises, there is a need to have a cloud security model. And this cloud security model focus on all of the efforts put together in developing a model to address security standards in cloud computing. All right, and there are two such bodies who have contributed the most in the development of cloud security reference model. One of them is the Cloud Security Alliance, Cloud Security Alliance, CSA. It is an organization focused on the promotion of secure cloud computing environment. All right, and this organization is registered as a non-profit corporation in Washington, United States. It has got chapters across the world. And this alliance has published a white paper titled Security Guidance for Critical Areas of Focus in Cloud Computing, which was released in 2009. That has focused on different areas of concerns related to cloud computing. And the third version of the document published in 2013 includes these issues related to cloud security. We have cloud computing architectural framework, governance and enterprise risk management, legal issues, contracts and electronic delivery, compliance and audit management. All these things we studied. Information management and data security, interoperability and portability, traditional security business continuity and disaster recovery, data center operations, incident response. What are these? These are the different issues that need to be addressed in a cloud. And that group, the group known as the Cloud Security Alliance, this group or this organization focuses on developing guidelines with respect to all these issues. And this Cloud Security Alliance, CSA here. CSA recommends best practices and offers guidance for security maintenance in cloud. And that helps in building quality service offerings. The primary objective of Cloud Security Alliance include these four objectives. There are the four objectives. First one is to encourage to develop a common level of understanding between cloud service providers and cloud service consumers. There should be a understanding, a common level of understanding. Uh, in case a cloud service consumer expects something from provider and provider does not provide that, the conflict arises. Essentially, there should be an understanding between both the parties, and they should come on a common, uh, format to have the service provision and delivery. And developing best practices related to cloud computing security by promoting independent research in the field. Best practices provides guidelines and way for you to for providers and consumers to follow. Initiate educational programs. Why? To spread awareness about the proper usage of services. Finally, it generates a list of issues to be agreed upon for cloud security assurance. When can cloud security is said to be properly implemented? When all of the issues are addressed properly, and therefore this cloud security alliance generate list of all the issues, uh, you know uh, these issues, if they are resolved, then there is a guarantee that cloud security has been achieved. Cloud security certification programs offered by TSA, like there are several certification programs provided by several organizations to develop the skills in a particular domain. This is one among them. Security certification program. These are offered by Cloud Security Alliance, and these develop confidence among cloud service providers as well as consumers. The second group is known as Jericho Forum Group. This was formed in 2004 as an international IT security association of companies, vendors, government groups, and academics. And their mission was to improve the security of the global open network computing environment. And the Jericho Forum became a part of vendor neutral industry consortium entitled as the Open Group, and has declared its closure in 2013 as their objectives were fulfilled. This Jericho Forum were uh, transformed into an open group, and that the original group was closed, and this collaboration among various organizations and stakeholders have promoted the development of several security standards, and major contributions have come from National Institute of Standards and Technology (NIST), European Union Agency for Network and Information Security (ENISA), Distributed Management Task Force (DMTF), Open Cloud Consortium (OCC), and Object Management Group (OMC). All right. Uh, Moving on. there is this concept of elements of cloud security concept. What are the elements? What are the necessary uh, components in a cloud security model? There is an analyst firm, Gartner. You might have heard about this Gartner. They published a report titled Assessing the Security Risks of Cloud Computing in 2008. This report focused on seven security issues which should be analyzed while moving into cloud. When an enterprise or an organization decides to move into cloud, these seven security issues, uh, must be analyzed properly. These seven issues can be considered as the elements for designing good security policy. And cloud consumer must query the service provider regarding these issues, uh, such that it ensures maximum protection and security. And they are: first, privileged user access. Privileged user access means, uh, user means users at the provider's end for managing the cloud. This cloud, there are thousands and millions of users. Anyone that has account in this cloud is said to be a user. And sensitive data of enterprises go out, and consumers generally lose physical control over security. We know that. Therefore, a consumer must ask for specific information from provider regarding who are the people who manage the cloud, and what the specific question to ask is how much access they have over data, how much access they have over data, and how they access are being controlled. These are the two specific questions that need to be asked by the consumer to the provider in order to determine the security level provided. Second one, regulatory compliance. Uh, this uh, this is related to having different rules and regulations across different countries and regions, and hence the consumer must uh, keep himself aware about these compliance and their issues. So here, the providers store and manage the data of enterprises in cloud computing. However, enterprises, these will store and manage. And enterprises responsible for integrity and privacy. Hence, consumers should opt for providers who have obtained security certifications. We should go with those providers that have obtained the security certifications to prove credentials and conduct regular audits. Third one, data location. Data in cloud are stored in the data centers, and data centers are spread over the globe. And generally, consumers would not have any knowledge about where their data is stored. And we know that different regions have different legal law, and therefore the consumer must request uh, the provider and ask the location of the data or request to place the data uh, in the country or region where the customer or the enterprise or the business reside. Data segregation, cloud computing, we know it is a shared service, and storage in cloud is managed in shared environment where multiple consumers store in the same place. Uh, this type of setting where in this space perhaps 9 customers will have their data stored. This poses the security threat. What happens when a customer whose data is located here actually tries to access this data or this data? This poses the security problem, and hence the provider uh, must segregate the stored data of different consumer and ensure that the data is not accessed by anyone except the authorized user. uh, and uh, encryption provides a mechanism that protects the data integrity. And even if anyone looks at the data, they can't know the content of the data. Recovery is another security related issue which is of uh, importance, and consumer must be aware about it. In case of any disaster, how is the data recovered, and what assurance the provider is giving to the consumer to recover the data in case of natural disaster or technical, you know, disaster. For complete restoration, the provider must maintain data and application infrastructure across multiple sites. Next, investigative support. Investigation of inappropriate or illegal activity must be initiated in cloud whenever a consumer detects that there is a breach of data, or if the data might get hacked. Whenever such illegal activity uh, takes place, investigation has to be carried out, and provider must ensure that the problem is resolved, and consumer must check whether the concerned vendor has supported such activities in previous instances or not. Long-term viability. Sometimes business gets closed. Even cloud computing is a sort of business. In case cloud computing, cloud service provider shut the business, or that business is being acquired by a large vendor, then what? That question uh, must be raised by the consumer, and ask the provider in case of shutting down of the business or um taking over of this business by another enterprise, what and how the impact will be there on the consumer's data. Will it be available or will it be erased? So this type of question must also be asked by the consumer. All right. Cloud security reference model is another topic. This cloud security reference model is known as cloud cube model. This model was developed by this Jericho forum group. And this model typically addresses the problems of security, especially deperimeterization problem. And this cube model has gained global acceptance by the experts and is considered as the security reference model for cloud computing. And this model suggested by Jericho considered multi-dimensional elements of cloud computing and appropriately suggested how to approach towards its security. It means all the suggestions, guidelines, and directions have been specified in this cloud cube model. This cloud cube model defines a three-dimensional cube, and their purpose was to provide a basis for standardization of a secure cloud computing. The model was originally created to address the issue of deep perimeterization network that was causing the mm, network security boundary issues. As the network security boundary was disrupted and uh, the enterprise data was stored in the cloud. This model suggests that consumers should not measure cloud security only depending on the narrow perspective of internal or external. There are many other factors that are related with the issue, and it's not only about whether the data is stored internally or externally. And Cloud Cube model illustrates different permutations available in cloud offerings and presents four criteria to differentiate various types of cloud formations. First one, primary objectives of the cloud cube model. It contributes in understanding the security perspectives in any formation of the cloud. And what are the primary objectives behind building the cloud cube model? First one is to represent different formations of cloud. Second one, to highlight the key characteristics of each cloud formation. And third one is to represent benefits and risks associated with each cloud formation. Means form a cloud, different forms of cloud exist, and it lists out all the different forms and their characteristics and the benefits and the risks. And here the focus that traditional non-cloud approach is totally obsolete and may sometimes be a suitable choice for operating the particular business function. Here they put more focus on having a cloud approach as the more modern method of doing business and non-cloud approach to be an obsolete form. To present a roadmap for more detailed study and to make the environment secure. What are the four criteria of cloud cube model? This cloud cube model represents four security related criteria. First one, whether the data will be stored internally within physical boundary of the organization or at some external location. Next one is, will the cloud be formed using proprietary technology? Uh, is the cloud created using a technology that is owned by one particular organization or uh, or a group? It is owned by them, or whether it is using any open technology which is open to everyone for use. All right. The third one is whether the cloud will operate within organization's network boundary or outside the boundary also. Fourth one, will the development and maintenance of the cloud service be outsourced? Development and maintenance to some third party, or will it be done with in-house team? This means that whether this cloud is being developed and maintained by an organization internal group or given to some third party. These four criteria uh, are represented across different dimensions of a cube. Uh, these four issues have to be decided upon, and uh, every issue raises two questions that has two probable answers, and they can be 4 square or 16 different combinations of cloud computing environment, means different forms of cloud computing environment. How can we get 16 different forms of cloud computing environment? If we say that physical boundary, within physical boundary or outside physical boundary, like this, is it using proprietary technology or open technology? So when you combine all these uh, forms, different ways. So these are four, and every question has uh, two aspects. So 4 squared. So we get 16 different forms. Is it clear? All right. Moving on. The dimensions. The cube model uses four security dimensions for representing different characteristics to distinguish cloud formations from each other. And what are these dimensions? Data boundary means internal or external, ownership of the cloud, proprietary or open, cloud security boundary, uh, only within or others, sourcing pattern within the organization or outsourcing. Here, first data boundary, internal or external. This internal is within the organization's physical boundary. External E is stored outside. Ownership means proprietary. Proprietary P open. Proprietary means the detail about the working of the technology is a secret, and it is owned by some individual or organization through the patent. And open means it is not owned by anyone. Uh, Open cloud services are built using some open standard. This is external, this is internal, this is proprietary, this is open. And security boundary, perimeterized, deperimeterized. Perimeterized uh, if if it is necessary to operate inside traditional network security boundary or not. This is the question. If yes means it is perimeterized, otherwise it is deperimeterized. Traditional network boundaries are often indicated by network firewalls, and perimeterized approach enhances security but prevents collaboration since it does not allow other systems to access anything inside its own perimeter. In this model, though collaboration can be established by using VPN, virtual private network. So it is like everything is within the organization. The entire work, the flow is within the organization, some in some way. But no one can access it outside. If it is required, then they can go for a VPN, virtual private network. Then two organizations can communicate and can send and receive the information. Deperimeterized systems show natural intent to collaborate. Here, what happens is uh, different organizations can interact with each other, and this Jericho Forum has defined a collaboration-oriented architecture framework for secure collaboration in deperimeterized environment, and such systems are protected using data level authentication, encryption, and so on. So this is perimeterized and this is deperimeterized. Sourcing, insourced, outsourced. Insourced means uh, it is developed and managed within an organization, and outsourced is if the services are provided by the organization's own internal team, then it is insourced. If it is done by the uh, third party, anyone, the service delivered by some third party, then it is called as outsourced. Okay, here you can Depiction can be seen here. Jericho forums, cloud cube model. This is external, this is internal, proprietary, open, deparameterized, parameterized, or outsourced, insourced. Examining cloud security against traditional computing is uh, is related to uh, studying this cloud security against in traditional computing. Everything is being done within an organization, and cloud is about having a provider that gives the services such as infrastructure services, software services, application services, data services. So here the that is looked upon. So what is consumer's responsibility and what is provider's responsibility? In traditional computing, everything is consumer's responsibility. If you can here observe, there is a color variation. This light color, this light color indicate that it is consumer's responsibility. A dark color denotes the provider's responsibility. And this traditional computing, there is no concept of provider because everything is done by the consumer. Here, coming to this cloud, this part is cloud. In cloud, we have IaaS service, PaaS service, SaaS service. In IaaS service, you see this part, this is consumer's responsibility. This is this is this in IaaS cloud application runtime, middleware, and guest is consumer's responsibility. Provider's responsibility include network, storage, server, and virtualization. In PaaS, consumer's responsibility is only application related, and remaining everything is dealt by the provider. In SaaS cloud, consumer should not will not do anything. It's all the services, all the options are the provider's responsibility. And security management responsibilities at infrastructure level, it is provider. Whether it is outsourced, when uh, no, for outsource it's different and in-source it's different. Observe here. For in-source, it's consumer's responsibility. When it is outsourced or when you are using ICE, then it is provider's responsibility. For platform level, it is consumer. If it is outsourced, and if it is outsourced, and PaaS means provider, SaaS means provider. And in-sourced, obviously, in-sourced is everything consumer's responsibility when it is in-sourced, or if it is ICE as well. And for ICE and PaaS, it is consumer responsibility and SaaS is provider. And here at operational level, it is the responsibility of consumer to have a security management. Okay, then security policy. Security policies is the set of documentation that guide for reliable security implementation in a system. And applicable standards and guidelines flow to the subsequent level from this policy, okay, from one level to another level. Cloud security strategy define different policies like system security policy, software policy, information system policy, etc. And this the cloud computing environment uh, maintains some general policies related to security. These are the policies. First one is management policy. This is a high level policy defined by the senior management and it governs security guidelines through the enterprise. And what does it address? It address backup operation, selection, regarding cloud deployment, regulatory policy. Um, Organizations have no role in this policy making. These policies are usually specific to the industry or government under which the organizations operate. Regulatory policies means given by government. Advisory policy. This security policy is not mandatory but strongly suggested. It is advised that you should, when earlier when helmet was not mandatory, it was advised to put on helmet and then ride. But then when it became the law, the regulatory policy, then it is not advisory policy. So it is advised that you should not do particular thing which is not good for you, but it is not mandatory. You can do it. And then informative policy. This informative policy is about making everyone concerned about the security issues, informing all the stakeholders about what may be the security issues. Trusted cloud in computing. This is a term that refers to the technologies, design, and policies to develop a highly secure, reliable computing system. The cloud computing system is secure, it is reliable, and then it brings a trust among the consumers. And this trust raises the consumer's faith. Yes, a trusted cloud provider may include security information and event management capability that can manage records and logs in a manner that evades legal constraints. A provider is ensuring that the system acts in a predictable manner. Acting in a predictable manner implies that there is nothing uncertain. Everything is for sure. For instance, earlier, uh, mm, before this pandemic situation, when an almanac was given, it was sure that most probably 99% of the time classes would be conducted as per the schedule and exams also as per the schedule. But now, because this is something unprecedented and bringing uncertainty, so we can't, trust also that if I say that tomorrow there is exam, there are chances that exams may get postponed. So like that, you know, things will bring, uh, things can't be predicted. How to make a cloud service trusted? Uh, the trust building initiative is the responsibility of service providers. They need to identify processes to strengthen the trust between them and the consumers. Only when the service providers are strong uh, and has implemented uh, security guidelines and certifications uh, and has developed a predictable environment and has taken an action even in the face of some adverse event, then this will give a message to the consumer that this provider is serious about the security. Okay, security, trust, and assurance registry. SAR. This is a certification program by Cloud Security Alliance. These certifications act as quality stamps and guarantee for the secured service. Reputation or trust building is a time-taking process, and larger cloud providers have already taken measures to establish this trust. Okay, with this we have done with this chapter, and with this chapter we have done with unit 3. And from tomorrow we will start unit 4. Do you have any doubts in all the units or in this chapter? Anyway, in any topic related to cloud computing, you can ask. If no doubts, then we'll see tomorrow.